Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel where we dive into stories that make you think. Today we've got a timeless tale from the heart of the savannah, a story about a hunter, a leopard, and a very clever rabbit. It's a story about promises, betrayal, and the surprising power of wit over might. So grab a comfy seat and let's get into the story of Kito, Chui, and Tamu. Our story begins under the vast open sky of the African plains, where a hunter named Kito lived. Kito wasn't like other hunters. He had a deep respect for the circle of life and only took what he and his village needed to survive. He was known for his kind heart, a trait that was both his greatest strength and, as we'll see, a potential weakness. One morning, as the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, Kito set out to check his traps. He moved silently through the tall grass, his senses alert to the sounds and smells of the wilderness he called home. As he approached a large baobab tree, he heard a sound that made him pause, a low, frustrated growl. Peeking through the leaves, he saw a magnificent leopard, its beautiful spotted coat shimmering in the morning light. The leopard, whose name was Chui, was caught fast in one of Kito's sturdiest rope traps. The more Chui struggled, the tighter the ropes became. He was powerful, but he was completely helpless. Kito watched for a moment, his heart a mix of pride in his trap and pity for the trapped animal. Chui saw Kito, and his eyes, usually fierce and predatory, now held a desperate plea. "Hunter," he called out, his voice a gravelly rumble. "Please, kind sir, have mercy on me. You can see I am trapped. If you release me, I will be forever in your debt. I swear upon the spirits of my ancestors, I will never bring harm to you or your family. I will see you as a brother. Please set me free." Kito listened, his compassionate nature stirring. He knew leopards were dangerous, unpredictable creatures. Every instinct he had as a hunter screamed at him to be cautious. A trapped leopard was a safe leopard. But the desperate plea in Chui's voice was hard to ignore. Kito thought about the promise. A sworn oath was a sacred thing. Could he trust the word of a leopard? He debated with himself. Leaving the leopard here meant its certain end, and his heart couldn't bear the thought of causing such a slow, agonizing fate for any creature, even a predator. After a long, silent moment, Kito made his decision. He believed in the good of all beings, and he would give Chui a chance to prove his words were true. Slowly and carefully, Kito approached the trap. Chui watched him, his body tense but his eyes wide with hope. "Stay calm, great Chui," Kito said softly. "I will release you. But you must remember the promise you just made." Chui nodded eagerly. "I will, hunter, I will. I will never forget your kindness." With nimble fingers, Kito began to work on the complex knots. It was risky work. A single wrong move, a sudden lunge from the leopard, and it would all be over. But Kito kept his focus, his movements steady and deliberate. Finally, with a soft snap, the last rope came loose. Chui was free. He stretched his powerful limbs, shaking his coat as if to rid himself of the memory of the ropes. He took a few steps, tasting his freedom. Kito watched him, a small smile on his face, feeling he had done the right thing. He turned to leave, ready to head back to his village with a story of mercy to tell. But then he heard a low growl behind him. He spun around and his heart dropped. Chui was crouched low to the ground, his tail lashing back and forth, his lips curled back to reveal a set of terrifyingly sharp teeth. The look of desperation was gone, replaced by pure, hungry predator instinct. "Chui, what are you doing?" Kito asked, his voice trembling slightly. "You gave me your word. You swore an oath." Chui let out a cold, chilling laugh. "My word, you fool. Promises are for weaklings. I am a leopard. Hunger is my law, and you, my dear hunter, look like a very easy meal. You were foolish to trust me." Kito backed away slowly, his mind racing. He had no weapon, nothing to defend himself with. He had shown mercy, and in return he was facing certain death. Betrayal stung him more sharply than any claw ever could. Just as Chui was about to pounce, a small voice piped up from a nearby bush. "Excuse me, Great Chui, but could you tell me what's happening here?" Both Kito and Chui turned to see a small brown rabbit with twitching ears and bright, intelligent eyes. This was Tamu, a rabbit known throughout the savannah not for his speed, but for his incredible cleverness. Chui scoffed, annoyed at the interruption. "It's none of your business, little rabbit. I am about to have my dinner." But Tamu didn't seem intimidated. He hopped closer, tilting his head. "Oh, but it sounds like a very interesting story. The hunter says you made a promise. Is that true?" Chui flicked his tail impatiently. Yes, I made a promise to get out of his ridiculous trap. So what? Now I'm hungry." Tamu stroked his whiskers thoughtfully. I see. But I'm just a simple rabbit, you see, and my brain is very small. I'm having a hard time understanding. How could a great and powerful leopard like you ever fit into such a small and flimsy trap? It seems impossible." Chui's pride was pricked. "Impossible? It's a very strong trap, and I was most certainly in it." Tamu shook his head, looking confused. "I don't know. I just can't picture it. You are so large and magnificent, and the trap looks so ordinary. The hunter must be lying about ever catching you. Perhaps you could show me? Just for a moment, so my little brain can understand how it worked." Kito watched, realizing what the clever rabbit was doing. He held his breath, praying the leopard's ego was bigger than his brain. Chui fell for it completely. He was so eager to prove his power and the strength of the trap that he didn't think twice. "Foolish rabbit, I will show you. Watch closely." With a proud snort, Chui stalked back towards the trap Kito had so carefully loosened. "The rope was here, across my chest," he grumbled, stepping right back into the center of the snare. "And this one was around my leg, like so." He moved around, positioning himself exactly as he had been when Kito first found him, explaining every detail of his predicament to the seemingly clueless rabbit. As Chui tangled himself back in the ropes, Tamu gave a quick, almost invisible nod to Kito. Kito understood immediately. He lunged for the trigger rope. With a single, swift pull, the trap sprang shut once again. The ropes tightened, and in an instant, Chui was just as trapped as he had been before, if not more so. He roared in fury and disbelief, realizing he had been tricked. He struggled and thrashed, but it was no use. He was caught. Tamu the rabbit hopped over to the fuming leopard. "There," he said calmly. "Now my small brain understands perfectly. You were in the trap. You made a promise to get out, and then you broke it. I think it's best you stay right where you are." He then turned to Kito, who was staring at him with awe and gratitude. "Hunter," Tamu said, "your heart is kind, but the world is not always kind in return. Remember that a promise from the desperate is not always a promise that will be kept. True character is shown not when one is in trouble, but when one is free." Kito nodded, having learned a powerful lesson. He thanked the clever rabbit profusely. "Tamu, you saved my life. Your wisdom is greater than any hunter's strength. I will never forget this." From that day on, Kito continued to be a kind hunter, but he was also a wiser one. He understood that while compassion is a virtue, it must be balanced with caution and a clear understanding of the true nature of things. And as for Chui, he was left in his trap to reflect on the fact that sometimes a clever mind can be far more powerful than the sharpest claws. So what do you think? It's a classic fable about how intelligence can triumph over brute force, and a great reminder to be careful about who you trust. Let me know your thoughts on this story in the comments below. What would you have done if you were Kito? Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this tale, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from around the world. We'll see you in the next video.